In this tutorial, we're going to review some of the basic things that you've learned in high school geometry. You'll just need a few of these things in your physics class. We'll start with lengths, areas, and volumes. So if you have a circle, you'll recall that the circumference of the circle, the total distance around, is given by 2 pi times the radius of the circle. The area of this circle is given by pi r squared. If instead of a circle we have a three-dimensional sphere, the surface area of that sphere is given by 4 pi r squared, where r is the radius of the sphere. The volume enclosed by the sphere, you may recall, is 4/3 pi r cubed. Let's consider a cylinder. Suppose I have a cylinder of radius r and of length L. Then the surface area of that cylinder, and by surface area I mean the area of the curved part of the cylinder, not this front face or the back face, but rather this curved part. The surface area of the curved part is given by 2 pi r times the length of the cylinder. The volume enclosed by this cylinder is given by pi r squared times L. These two things are fairly easy to remember. Let's start with the surface area. I want you to picture this thing as a paper towel tube. And imagine if you draw a line along the tube like that, take a pair of scissors and snip it right along that line, and then unfold the paper towel tube. This is what you would get. You'd get a rectangular shape of length L, same length as a cylinder, and this, when you snip along here and unfold, the length of this side here is, namely this side, is just the circumference of that cylinder, 2 pi r. So you see therefore that this surface area is given by 2 pi r times L, and that's where this expression comes from. The volume of this cylinder, you can think of it as follows. The cross-sectional area here of this circle is pi r squared. So we're basically taking the cross-sectional area, pi r squared, times the length. Pi r squared, that's the base, times the length, that gives us the total volume enclosed. Let's look at a few things about triangles. If you have a basic triangle, and this is angle theta 1, theta 2, and theta 3, recall that the sum of the three angles of the triangle, they always add up to 180 degrees. If you have a right triangle, where this is 90 degrees, then if we call this angle theta here, then the other angle here must be 90 minus theta. Again, you get that by demanding that the sum of the three angles must always add up to 180 degrees. So if this, for example, was 30 degrees, then this angle here must be 60. Also, you recall for a triangle, we have a right triangle, we have the Pythagorean theorem. If we have a right triangle, one leg of length A, one leg of length B, and a hypotenuse length C, then they're related by A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We have a few special triangles to consider. If we have a so-called 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, then if I call the length of the hypotenuse h, then the short side here, the length of this short side, in other words, the length of the side opposite to the 30 degree angle, is 1/2 the length of the hypotenuse. And the longer leg of this triangle here, its length is square root of 3/2 times the length of the hypotenuse. If we have a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, and h is the length of this hypotenuse, then the length of each of these two legs is square root of 2/2 times the length of the hypotenuse. Now, when angles are often formed when you have lines that are crossing one another. So let's say, for example, I have this 90 degree angle here. And then I draw this line coming out like that. If this is angle theta here, then since I know the total angle here is 90 degrees, this angle from here to here must be 90 minus theta. Let's look at another example. Suppose I have a straight line, and I draw another straight line like that. Then if I call this angle here theta, then I know that the total angle from here all the way to here is 180 degrees, so this angle here must be 180 minus theta. Next, suppose I have two straight lines that are intersecting like this. If this is angle theta, then this angle here is also theta. And finally, suppose I have two parallel lines, and I draw a third line intersecting them as follows. Then if I look at this angle here and call it theta, then this angle here is also theta. This rule is known as alternate interior angles. Next key thing that you'll need to remember from geometry is converting from degrees to radians. So, here I've drawn a circle, and I've defined this angle theta here to be the angle that this blue line makes with the horizontal. And as theta gets larger and larger, as we, in other words, move around the circle, we're increasing the angle. And you may recall that there's 360 degrees corresponds to going once all the way around the circle. So if I increase this angle theta and go all the way around, that corresponds to 360 degrees, which is equivalent to 2 pi radians. So degrees and radians are just different ways of measuring angles. So if this blue line here was flat right along the horizontal, we would say, oh, it's making a 0 degree angle with the horizontal, or likewise 0 radians. If I move this blue line so it's over to here, so the angle that it's making is 90 degrees, that corresponds to pi over 2 radians. So 90 degrees is the same as pi over 2 radians. Again, radians are just a different unit for measuring angles. If this blue line was over here, then we would say it's making a 180 degree angle, or pi radians. If this blue line swings around and it comes all the way down, so it's here, then this would be 270 degrees, or 3 halves pi radians. And finally, if I swing it all the way around, I'm at 360 degrees, which is the same thing as 0 degrees, or 2 pi radians. So let me repeat. Once around the circle is 360 degrees, which is equivalent to 2 pi radians. So you should just memorize this. This is 0 radians, this is pi over 2 radians, pi radians, 3 halves pi radians, and when you're back to where you start, you can call that 2 pi radians or 0 radians, because you're back. So 2 pi radians and 0 radians are effectively equivalent. By the way, there's one nice geometrical fact that you may or may not remember from your high school geometry. Suppose I have a circle of radius r, and I have these two red lines here, okay, each of radius r, and there's some angle between them. Let me give that angle a name. I'm going to call it phi. And suppose I want to know the length of this arc of the circle, that little section of the circle right there. How long is it? Well, the length of this segment here is simply given by r, the radius of the circle, times phi, the angle here, provided you measure phi in radians. So this arc length in black here is just length r times phi, but this is only true, this only works if you measure phi in radians. You can't measure phi in degrees here. But in radians, this is a nice little geometrical fact that will sometimes be useful in your physics class.